This is a response to the brutal reality, dating in a recession. This is Saint Caffeine. Um, I enjoyed his work very much, so let's get started. At one point, he pointed out that women are saying that men have gone into hiding. Now, we've done this in part because of your approach to feminism. Some people call it lifeboat feminism. Some people call it salad feminism, where you pick out the good bits. I'll call it a la carte feminism because I'm Canadian. To quote Dave Chappelle, feminism is dead and women killed it. Now, ladies, if you don't understand, I'm going to tell you how men think. We really like to think in a linear fashion. So, the traditional approach for feminism was the old days, and I'm talking 18th century here. The point was to woo a woman. You proved your worth. You wooed the woman. She would produce offspring, be by your side. You would have the children, etc., etc., etc. So, if a reasonable thinking man looks at it and says, well, the point of chivalry was to now, today, date, get married, and produce offspring, and he also knows that 50% of marriages end in divorce, 70% of times it's initiated by the woman, 80% of the time she gets the house and he winds up back in his old neighborhood, and 90% of the time she gets the kids. What is the point of the initial chivalry? There isn't any. To give you an analogy, if I was getting on a train that was going from Ottawa to Montreal, and I knew that there was a 60% chance that that train was going to crash and either kill me or leave me severely incapacitated, and I had a chance to get off of that train, you could be pretty sure that I would get off before my ticket was punched. Ladies, that's what we're saying. If you want to sit on that train and wait for us to get on, that's fine. Thank you very much. I'll drive myself. This is what Tyra, Oprah, Cosmopolitan, and The View won't tell you, because they don't want to start that discussion. They don't even want to admit that some men have said, you know what? This is a nonsense game, and I'm not playing. And remember, ladies, you produce 12 eggs a year. That's it. That's all you've got. This morning, before I went to work, I found that bad monkey. I spanked him rather badly, and 25 million sperm went to their useless death in my shower. So that's something you need to consider. At one point, the brutal reality brought up another good point, that women say that they want men to express their feelings. They want men to communicate. And this has been said, I think, for a couple of decades. You know what? This is complete nonsense. What women really mean is they want men to communicate like women. And men have been trying. They've feminized themselves. They've been sensitive. They've been this. They've been that. You know what? That nonsense is done. We're men. We're going to communicate like men. And furthermore, if women are supposed to be the better communicators, then please, maybe you can tell me why, after a couple of decades, you haven't figured out how men communicate. Another good point that the brutal reality brought up was that women are afraid that their standard of living is going to drop. And the following point applies to both men and women. A lot of people have confused a standard of living with a standard of spending. And they are two different things. Because Maslow's pyramid says you need food, shelter, clothing, etc., as you move up the pyramid. And it turns out that once you cover the basics, it's very hard to increase your happiness exponentially. It really, really is. And ladies, I don't know why you care. Because I've seen the stats. You're making the money. There are more women in university than men getting more of those vaunted degrees that you like to flaunt because you're strong and you're independent. So you're perfectly capable of making the money. And as you've stated over and over, you don't need a man. You go, girl. You can do it on your own. And I tell you what, that's really easy to say when you're in a university women's studies class at 22. But when you realize in your mid-30s that you've devoted your life to your career, and in fact, you've learned what men have known all along, that working for a living sucks, believe me, you will change your tune. I saw a poster once that said, a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. This is absolutely true until that woman has the condo or the house, the degree, the car, the savings plan, the house is full of the stuff, etc., and now she's ready to have a family. I tell you what, I'm 40. When I was a kid, old people had a certain smell, if you will, and they all did. A woman that's ready to have that baby who has all that stuff has the same smell. It's not as strong, but she's got it. And I tell you what, a lot of men recognize it, and it's one of the reasons that you can't find a man. And I tell you what, if you didn't hear that, ladies, I'll give you a second. Put your glass of Cabernet Sauvignon down. Put the Sex and the City on mute. And I'll say it again. If you have all that stuff, and now you're ready to find the good guy, the Poindexter that you were ignoring all along, you know what? We know the game. And the answer is no. Because you don't want to form a team. What you want is a prop in your plan. And if I want to be a prop in somebody's plan, I'll go take community theater. I'll learn how to be an actor. In fact, I don't even rate women on a scale of 1 to 10. I rate women differently. If I see a dime, to me, she's a 60. Now what does that mean? That means that I'm going to have to work a minimum of 60 hours a week to keep her happy. And gentlemen, understand, every woman is going to kick you up. If you start with a 40, you're going to be working a 55. Thanks to the brutal reality, this is Saint Caffeine. Good day and God bless.